And we read over there in Pirkei Avos, it says Moshe received the Torah from Sinai, and then he gave it over to Yeshua, and Yeshua to the Zkanim to the Nevi'im. And the question is obviously asked, why did Moshe receive the Torah from Sinai? He didn't receive it from Sinai, he received it from Hashem. We mentioned all the leaders that it was passed down to. Why does it say Moshe received from Sinai? It's teaching us that where did Moshe learn the number one ingredient to becoming a student and to learn Torah properly? Is from Sinai. Sinai was the smallest mountain. Sinai represented humility. And Moshe Rabbeinu realized the number one ingredient to learn, whether it's on JNet or whether it's any other way where a person learns Torah, you have to have humility. He knew that was the number one thing. Obviously, it's important to be smart, it's important to be wise, and all these other character traits. But the number one character trait in order to learn Torah and to receive is that you have to have humility. Sharpness, IQ, creativity, they're all important, but they're secondary. So when Moshe Rabbeinu was sitting in Rabbi Akiva's class, he heard a brilliant lecture. He heard Rabbi Akiva, the brilliant teacher, the charismatic orator, the extraordinary scholar, the maestro of Torah of that generation, the spiritual giant. And he was listening and listening, and he said, the man is brilliant. But where is the humility? Is Rabbi Akiva a chassid? Does he also have a rebbe? Does he teach with humility? Or it's all coming from him? So then, when one of the students asked Rabbi Akiva, where did you get this novel interpretation? He said it's a halacha min Moshe Sinai. So then Moshe Rabbeinu says, I can see Rabbi Akiva is a chassid. He also has a rebbe. He also has humility because he's willing to say, this is not mine. This is all coming from Moshe Rabbeinu at the very, very top. And that is the number one ingredient. And that was why Moshe Rabbeinu was able to relax. And as the Rebbe says in the Sikha, Hata Rebbe is this Ashva Daita. That Rabbi Akiva was able to show that he also understood that humility was paramount. And he was like a chassid. He was a chassid. He realized that he was receiving from the generations and the generations before that and the generations before that. And that is why JNet is so important. There are many organizations. I live in Long Beach, Long Island, and I come across many organizations, many good organizations. They teach a lot of Torah. There are groups on Facebook and on Google and on WhatsApp, and there are many opportunities for people to learn Torah throughout the world. But what JNet has to offer is that JNet has a leader. And as Rabbi Kadlowski mentioned earlier, our inspiration is the Rebbe. And whether you're teaching simple Hebrew, or you're teaching Gemara, you're teaching Mishnah, you're teaching Chumash, whatever you're teaching, the concept of Rebbe comes through. And it's only through this organization, the JNet organization of Chabad, that you're able to give that message across. Because you're able to give that humility that is required for people to grow and grow and grow. They're not just learning something intellectual. They're not learning something just godly. It's more than that. They have to realize that this is coming from a higher source, from something so special. So Rebbe goes through every single one of you. When you teach, no matter what you teach, the concept of Rebbe is coming through to that person in Alice Springs. As you can see, what does he use his house for? Lag BaOmer events. He's a Lubavitcher. He uses their home for Lag BaOmer events in Alice Springs. I've never been to Alice Springs. I lived in Melbourne most of my life. Alice Springs, there's nothing there in Alice Springs, let me tell you. I don't know why he's there. He's a doctor. He's saving lives. There's nothing there in Alice Springs. A few Jews. But he's going out of his way, and he is acting like a chassid. So I guess my brother did a good job with it. Because he understands it's not just to learn Torah so he can finish us. So he can finish the Mishnayos. He can tell all his friends that he finished Chamishei Chumshei Torah. But he realizes that from the studying that he's getting at JNet, he now needs to give over to others. That is what humility is all about. That is what JNet has to offer. And that is what us Hasidim have to give over to our Chavrusos. And I want to share that not only am I inspired by what's going on in Alice Springs, but in my community, there is an individual that was also inspired. I have a few people in my community over here, but he's one of our very best. No doubt about it. I think they'll agree. He learned over the past year or so with an individual. His name is Mason Fine, Menachem Ben Dov. And he is an extraordinary individual together with his wife Nancy. A great, great couple. And I think that the learning that he's been receiving has really filtered through such a way that he himself also shares and inspires others in our community. So without any further ado, enough hearing from me, we want to hear from the real heroes that participate in the JNet and learn in JNet. So I'd like to call upon Mason Fine to come over here and share with us a few words.
Thank you, Rabbi Goodman. I'd like to just share a few thoughts I had about my experiences with JNet. At the urging of Rabbi Goodman, I began the journey with JNet a little over a year ago. I've been interested in Tanya for some time because on some level it's saying to me. I tried reading it on my own, but I found it way too difficult to understand. I had far more questions than answers. But as I found out, having a study partner made Tanya far more. I started my weekly Sunday sessions slowly and reluctantly. The beginning texts of Tanya are difficult to understand, and I wasn't sure what questions to ask without appearing ignorant to the person on the other end of the phone whom I'd never met. However, my Harusa guided me through each chapter of Tanya with patience and insights. It went a little bit like this. I read, he explained passages. I read some more. He asked me questions. And honestly, most of the time I didn't have an answer. Over a period of several months, we began to form a friendship. The real breakthrough happened, however, around mid-October and November, when football season was in full swing. I asked if he liked football. Now, I'm neither a Giants fan or a Jets fan. My football team is the Denver Broncos, having spent most of my life in Colorado. Talking together, I found out my teacher was a Kansas City Chiefs fan. Now, if you followed football last year, you know the Broncos were doing poorly. The Kansas was heading for an undefeated season. I was immediately converted to a Kansas fan. Each week we began our study session. We would take some time to talk football. For a few moments each Sunday, before diving into the intricacies of Tanya, we were just two guys talking sports. Oddly enough, around the same time, my Tanya sessions really began to speak more deeply to me. The sessions, as I like to say, started getting inside me. What does that mean? It's difficult for me to explain. At the time, concepts started to change me from the inside out. I want to read two passages that help me make that change. At such time during the Shema, the prayer, when the love of God burns in the heart of the enemy, evil in the left part of his heart, the animal soul's principal area of manifestation, is subjected to and is nullified from the goodness, i.e. the love of Hashem. It spreads into the right part of the heart, where the divine soul is manifest, and the Hakma being a das, faculties in the brain which are bound in the meditation of the greatness of the Ein Sof. The chapter goes on, and towards the end, the Alter Rebbe says, the discussion of the mastery over his animal soul has thus far been centered on matters pertaining to man's relationship with God. It now moves to another area. So too it matters between man and his fellow man. The Benjamin will not grant expression in thought, speech, or action to any evil feelings toward his fellow. As soon as there arises from his heart to his mind any animosity or hatred, as for shalom, a jealousy, anger, or grudge, and the like, we are barring them from his mind and we're refusing even to think of them. The concepts in these passages were life-changing. It changed my dogma. I concentrated on holding onto the godly spark from Shema to Shema, from morning until night. But what really got to me was working on my interactions with people. As soon as there arises from his heart to his mind any animosity or hatred or jealousy or anger or grudge, I'm not saying I'm perfect now. I'm more conscious of the mistakes I make and work with greater determination on not making them again. It's changed how we interact with everyone, strangers, friends, family. I can't provide concrete examples. I can say I'm more open, more accepting, more empathetic. It feels like my godly soul's been lit from inside, like the flame is working its way upward and outward. I owe these changes to my Harusa. Tanya is a difficult text. There are no endearing stories to break up the dialogue. Instead, my Harusa has helped me bring the text to life. At this time, I'd like to ask my Harusa, Moshe Perlman, to please come up to the podium. Moshe and I have never met, though we live only 20 miles apart, 25 miles apart. We speak on the phone every Sunday. Moshe, thank you for taking an hour out of your time each Sunday to work with me through a very difficult text this year. Your dedication and devotion has changed my life in ways that you'll never know. I hope we can continue to study Hasidus for many years. Oh, and may Kansas fix its defense this year so that they're able to win the Super Bowl.
Thank you so much, Mason. Moshe, I'd like to ask you to stay here for a moment. It's really so amazing to me when I see a chavrusa that develops such a beautiful connection. And Moshe and Mason, and again, like you heard Mason say, this is the first time that they've actually met in person after a year of studying. And just want to congratulate them on the study that they've done. And we'll segue from this into our Siyum presentation. And so I'd like to congratulate both of you on the completion of 35 prakim of Tanya. Congratulations both of you. At this time, we would also like to acknowledge the learning accomplishments of several of you here tonight. Be aware that this is just a representation of some of you. It's amazing the amount of learning, and the more feedback that we get from you about any specific learning accomplishments gives us the opportunity to stop for a moment and recognize that there is two elements to our learning. There is the specific study that we are doing, and then there's also the relationship which is happening, the life of Torah, and also the way that the Torah shows us our life. It's the content and the relationship, and it's all chayenu, our life. So, without further ado, I would like to present these certificates of accomplishment to the following individuals. Basi. And at this time, I would also like to take the opportunity to greet a volunteer who has traveled all the way from Charlotte, North Carolina, to be here tonight to meet her chavrusa for the first time, Mrs. Leah Portnoy and Mrs. Linda Kogan. Congratulations on completing a year of Parshas HaShavua. Mrs. Chani Dubov, and from here in Brooklyn, and Mrs. Barbara Nevin from Excelsior, Minnesota, on completing 5 years of Parshas HaShavua. We would also like to congratulate Ms. Bryna Telsner and Ms. Marlene Dowling from Thornhill, Ontario, on completing Pirkei Avos and Parshas HaShavua. And now for the men, when you hear your names, you could please come and approach the podium. Rabbi Itcha Zalmanov from Brooklyn, and Mr. Rafael Rose, also from Brooklyn, on completing also 34 prakim of Tanya. Yasher Kach. Rabbi Shlomo Sirota and Mr. Adam Kamen from Austin, Texas. Also, you can read the featured member article, the featured chavrusa article in the journal about them on completing Perek HaMafkid of Baba Mitzia. Rabbi Shimon Goldenberg and Mr. Shmuel Yaakov Weiss from San Diego, California, on completing 14 prakim of Tanya. Rabbi Shlomi Stock and Mr. Dylan Feinberg from Taipei City, Taiwan, on completing 6 simanim of Kitzur Shulchan Aruch. And finally, Harav Mordechai Garari and Mr. Zev Zalman Shulman from Cliffside Park, New Jersey, on completing Masechta Brachos. Please come up to the podium. Very grateful to Rabbi Garari, who has joined us tonight and will be completing a siyum on Masechta Saita for us. and has taken the time where he usually gives a shir to come and share this Masechta and make this a Sudas mitzvah for us here tonight with the completion of a Masechta Gemara.
Actually, today is also a scene for the Dabayim learner and the Sikhs forward. But you think they see him and the Sikhs say to him, but it is in the Sikhs that we live together with my beloved Havusa, and we are now about to complete it. In general, before we start the scene, I wanted to tell you that you should know that this partnership, this Havusa, is eternal. This is the strongest, most valuable partnership. It says that a person is asked, first of all, the Torah we just learned ethics of the fathers. And it says the Torah is with you, protects you all your life, on your last journey, even at the time of Tris Hamesi. Give a look again in the sixth theory of ethics of the fathers. It says, the Gemara says, that everyone at the hour of the morning will be asked 3 questions. Did you set up time to learn? Did you have a chance to learn Torah? And I was in business, sincere, and so on the Sato Be'emunah. And I was your faith and trust and the coming of Mashiach. And Tesis is asking from a few spots in Shas, questioning what is the first question about business or about learning Torah. And it says that when a person is asked, did you learn Torah? How is your Amunah? Amunah is complete. Complete. Did you have a chance to learn Torah? Busy. Busy? Not busy only. It's busy. If your Amunah is complete, start with to deprive yourself on that. So it goes hand in hand. So that's why we are going to be machazik, all of you, and to the ladies, to the dear ladies, I wanted to say, we just celebrated Matan Torah, and by Matan Torah, the Rebbeinu Shalom said to Moshe, before anything else, speak to the ladies. With the ladies you'll be able to accomplish more. Forgive me, man. Why? The Rebbe elaborated on that. Said, she could have an effect and an influence on the husband that he should set up time to learn Torah. You see, if to say that after so many speakers, so I'll try to limit myself. They limited me already. But in general, in Sifta Satan, I would like to elaborate a little bit about the concept. It's about family, purity, morality, you could see that the Rebbeinu Shalom permitted, not only permitted, commanded to erase his holy name in the past of Seder, to give it to drink at the time when we were testing this Seder. It is to establish Shalom Bayis, establish purity, establish morality. Anyway, at the end of Seder, it says here, at the end, by the conclusion, that the generation after the destruction of Beis Hamikdash, the generation started to go down spiritually. In many levels. By the end it says, that Rabbeinu HaKadosh, Mishemes Rebbe, Anivus, humbleness, Yerushalayim was gone. Bottled, nullified. Came Rabbi Yosef and said, don't say about Anava. Don't say there was no more Anava. I am here. What do you say on that? This itself doesn't swell with Anivus. He says, don't say that there is no more Anivus, because I am here. There are many explanations like that. Some Meforshim are saying that what he meant to say, if you see, if Abraham, this is Anivus, he said, if people could take me for a robe, if people take me for a Rosh Yeshiva, the way I am, it shows that the world is plenty unknown here. Understand? Then it means also to say that he says, it is now over, because you see another for me. By the way, there was a Gemara. It says that in a certain kihil, they were looking for a leader. However, they found two great candidates. One was Rabba, the greatest Amorai, and the other one was Rabbi Yosef. And then they decided Rabbi was very harif, sharp, profound. Rabbi Yosef was phenomenal, a boki. So they decided, let's take the boki. Achel tzrichin, the more the heater. But Rabbi Yosef said, well, Rabbi, as long as Rabbi is with us, I will not be Rosh Yeshiva. No, this doesn't show you. Anivus, and even more so says the Gemara, that when Rabbi became Rosh Yeshiva, and Rabbi Yosef was acting very plain, simple, even when he needed a physician. He didn't, at that time was doctors used to come home visits. He didn't want to show any godless. So still he says, so you take Gaya, but not comparing to Rabbeinu HaKodesh. Because Rabbeinu HaKodesh, it depends who is our owner, we understand. The Novi says, Al Yisrael HaChochom B'Chochmosei, HaGiver B'Gurosei, Osher, those who are rich, well-to-do, but don't be arrogant. He doesn't say, Al Yisrael HaChatzi B'Chatzenusei. You understand? Rabbi Yosef said, comparing to Rabbeinu HaKodesh was so well to do financially. You remember what Rashi says, Shnei Geim B'Midler, Rabbi and Antoninus. He was so, and he was a descendant of David HaMelech, and he was the Nosi of him. And he was still such a great honor. So that's why he says, to Rabbi Sandover, you cannot compare. Adon Elohim Harufa was little of Sirta Satan. Adon Elohim Sirta Satan, God of Halom, Titan Elohim Sirta Satan, Gedaitan Elohim, Lead Snashim Elohim Sirta Satan, Lead Tatum Elohim, Lead Almo Dain, Lead Almo Dos. It means you'll come back to you. You're not letting you come back to you. You want to, Adon Elohim Sirta Satan, Titan Elohim Sirta Satan, Titan Elohim, Lead Snashim Elohim Sirta Satan, Lead Snashim Elohim, Lead Almo Dain, Lead Almo Dos. Adon Elohim Sirta Satan, right? Adon Elohim Sirta Satan, right? Now, Lead Snashim Elohim, Sirta Satan, Lead Snashim Elohim, Lead Almo Dain, Lead Almo Dos. By the way, you should know that with Mr. Schulman, we made already, it's about 5-6 years, I think, and we made already a few years, only 5. Without criticism, without publicity. You want to know how to do it, you say, you take the horse over and say, the very much that, who tell you one of them about. Now give a look at this. You heard of Rapope? How do you like that? How do you like his songs? Rapope had 10 songs, huh? Would you like to sit by Shabbos table with such a minion? Anile Rapope, Romy Rapope, Nachman Rapope, Ahoye Rapope, Avamori Rapope, Afro Rapope, Rory Rapope, Sofa Rapope, Ado Rapope, Ru Rapope. The commentators say he was able to have such a minion, Tamil Rapope, because he was always supporting Limud HaTorah, and especially whenever it was a siyum, he sponsored it. That was this. I know Lila Zivus Yehoshua, Bifino, Kizama Beit Yisrael, Vinye Kolon Anachnu, V'Tzatziyim Tzatziyam Beit Yisrael, Kolon Yehish Mach Levis Yivoseva, Beit Tachmeini, V'Tzatziyam Gilel V'Li, Yihim Sof V'Kel Mal Levis, Leon Yeshka V'Godel Shmon V'Yisoni, Bo Hatwa Ymuel V'Yino V'Tzago, Obino Minom V'Salvoi, Meidem Anachnu V'Nochat Muel Hino Yavzim, Yesam Tov Keino Nish V'Yisrael, ולשם תרול קיינו נשוויקום, שום משכימים ומשכימים, או משכימים לדירותיה ומשכימים לדור בתיה, או נעמיד ונעמיד, או נעמיד ונקבל שכר, ונעמיד ונקבל שכר. או נורוצים ואימותים ולחוצים חיים לעבור, ואם רוצים לבירשרות שלנו, פתולים תבילים ודרילים בירשרות, עד שדולמים ולהיות חינם להכנוף את בנוחת מיולאי, Kim to Nathaniel Stein, the Sittel, Kim Tazrin, Lasti, the Sirtes, the Sor Mapeli, and Simon, Lilith Ulami, Nishma Blasses and Kai, Svolim Samti Hotel Diabo, Usus, Polatagoi Mamehoi, Tamila Mahoni, Yamed Diozari, Svitomus, Atila Mipi, and Piazari, the Zevazari Anilo, Isaimi. As we told you before, that the Torah is always accompanying us. Bisalecho, Tam Beiso, Bishol Becho, Kishmir Alecho. That he says it's amazing. This is the level. If you were your level, you see what they say. Eirech Yamin Dimino, Bismeila Yishel Becho. You should all be what Hashem well to do, financially well to do, but you should know what is priority and what is secondary. Eirech Yamim, that's the Torah, Dimino. You should have Ashiras, but you should know this is secondary. Eirech Yamim Dimino, Bismeila Yishel Becho. And you know, you always want to meet in on the roads out of our children. It's not only his father, Shmirat, no one got to see how much to see. The outcome of God is the whole base is loyal. Van Golo is Van Pori, Nimrove. Salom, Salom, Spin, Busham, Liverpool, Mosum, Shiloso, Boston, Hamasalam, Belman, Mome, and his oil, the Deva, the Missandale, the Commandos can be Haiso, give us Rodin, Kulasavasa, Gil Pay, Songarabo, Kino, the His of Rapin, Kind of Living, the Noviro, Follow. You come now when you Ishmael, you are baby. You should have Ishmael, Abdim, Molino, all Israel, you are baby. The children of Rainbow, we are children of Molino. God is oil, He will be.
Thank you so much, Rabbi Gerari. Rabbi Gerari and his Chavrusa, Mr. Shulman, have been learning for over 8 years now, and I'm very grateful for him to dedicate his time to also be a JNet volunteer among the other many significant responsibilities that he has. Thank you so much, Rabbi Gerari. We now like to acknowledge and appreciate our Chavrusa of the Year. Walking up and down Kingston Avenue, I've met and recruited many of you here, and have had many more people respectfully decline. When I met Rabbi Yoel Chazan the first time 6 years ago on Kingston Avenue, he had just gotten married 2 weeks before. And he had asked if he could get back to me in a couple months when things had settled down. A typical politely declining answer that I had been used to. I was very pleasantly surprised when 2 months later, I got a call from him asking him to volunteer, asking that he volunteer to study with someone, and he was set up with Alex Berbreyer, a PhD student in Winston-Salem, North Carolina.
My name is Alexander Berbreyer. I live in Belo Horizonte, in Brazil. I do medical research. I have a stem cell research. I was born in Soviet Union in 1986. My parents found professor positions in Brazil in a very far city called Fortaleza. At my home in Fortaleza, where we lived with my parents, me, my sister, and my parents, we didn't know much, although we thought that we were the most religious family in the town. And many of the things that we were doing at our home, and now I know that they were not correct. For instance, we thought that every chicken, every cow would be kosher. I didn't know that meat should have special script that should become kosher, or a special way to kill the animals to become kosher. We never mixed milk and meat, or ate shrimps or pork, or these kind of things, because we knew this. But several other things that we didn't know, we didn't keep just because we didn't know. The first time that I went to shul in Chabad, I brought all the religious Jewish items that I had with me, that I knew that probably I needed to make a shul. So I brought the cedar that my father gave me, I brought the talis that my father gave me, and also a feeling. However, I brought it on Friday night, so I brought kind of service. I just brought the feeling. Now I don't do mitzvah, but I didn't know it at the time. And I was trying to be the most religious that I could. After I spent around 2 years in São Paulo, I was in the stage of my career to start doing PhD. And I found one place in North Carolina to do my PhD there in neuroscience. When I first arrived to North Carolina, and I found in the internet that there was a Chabad in Greensboro that was about 15 minutes drive from where I live. I went to this Chabad, and they received me very nicely. It was Yosef and Inti block. There were young children, they just came to Greensboro a few months before this, and they really became my family. So Yosef proposed that a great thing would be to try JNet. That I would be able to study with a partner. So this was the way that I got connected with Rav Hazan from Manchester, now he's in Crown Heights. So he was my partner in study. He was teaching me so many things that I didn't know. And sometimes we would even just talk about life or things from life, and he would help me few things. He would tell me stories of his life, and we even became so friends that when we came to live in the Bronx, in New York, I got married, and his wife and his children, they even came to spend a Shabbos with us. We also came many times to spend Shabbos with them in Crown Heights, so we became really friends. And the learning was a great experience and was a great thing for me. So we came to Brazil, to a city that I have a tenured professor position. I have a big lab of around 20 people. Here we do medical research, with stem cells, cancer research. We study several diseases, and we try to progress with this medical research. I believe that both learning in JNet and just generally Jewish learning, it kind of guided my research and directed me. And this learning will bring some type of energy to my day, to my week. I would like to thank so much the Plotkin's family, Rav Yosef Plotkin, Rav Yoel Hazan, the whole JNet, Rav Yehuda Brooks, and the whole Chefrusas from JNet that do such a great job and make important changes in the life of so many people around the world. So I would like to thank all of you, and you really made a change in my life. So I'm very thankful, and this is a great thing that you guys did.
We'd like to ask your Yoel Hazan to come up and receive the JNet Chavrusa of the Year award. The award reads, JNet is proud to recognize Rabbi Yoel Hazan Chavrusa of the Year, June 17, 2019, Yudal Sivan 5779. Thank you so much, Yoel. We would like to conclude the program by asking Rabbi Chai Cohen to come up and draw the winning raffle name from our Shavuos learning campaign. As you know, we have a learning campaign throughout the year where we send out a specific mimer or study material to learn. And the last one was just in honor of Shavuos. And so we would like to draw the winning raffle ticket right here from the people who, from everyone who submitted their doch and their name for studying in this campaign.
Okay.
The winner is Ori Cascetta from Miami, Florida. Congratulations, Ori. We will be sending you your prize in the mail. Sorry that you weren't able to be here tonight to receive in person. So I would like to thank everyone who helped make this dinner possible. Rabbi Shalom Bar Baumgarten, the Jewish Children's Museum, Chabad Eror with your help for the online live stream, Jem for the clip of the Rebbe, which we unfortunately weren't able to get working, but they did do their part in getting it for us. Ben Shimon Studios for the lighting, Rabbi Mendy Yarmo for the video, Rabbi Levi Kotlarski, Rabbi Nachum Shapiro, and Mendy Kolsky for coordinating the event. And I would also like to thank my wife Sarah for hanging in there and putting up with all the mishigas associated with it, making a dinner, and for sharing also her beautiful music, which you heard during this rolling video while you were having dinner. On the way out, make sure if you're, all the volunteers here are entitled to receive the book, The Daily Wisdom 2, as a gift for your dedication. Thank you so much for volunteering. We are also having a $10,000 raffle on Tesvav Tammuz, July 18th. For those of you who are able to, this is a way to participate in JNet not just as volunteers, but also in the capacity of Zevulun and helping us do even more. I hope you enjoyed the evening. Please do not forget a bracha achroina. We will be having a mezuzah shortly. And B'ez Hashem, we will very soon complete our shlichus here and be zeicha zen zich mit Rebbe Dalamata v'keira b'yameinu. Amen.
Thank you.